Imagine walking into a room filled with food and laughter and warmth and then being told this won't last. That's exactly what Dickens does with the Ghost of Christmas Present. This character looks joyful but actually delivers one of the most powerful warnings in the entire novella. And if you don't understand both sides of him, you're missing the top marks. So let's break this down together. Dickens presents him as warm and generous. Green robe symbolizes life, growth, and abundance. The listing, genial, sparkling, cheerful, brings a sense of joy and energy. But Dickens doesn't let this stay positive. He then introduces a warning. If these shadows remain unaltered, this is a direct warning about consequences and the image of a vacant seat and a crutch without an owner. That's Dickens foreshadowing Tiny Tim's death. So yes, he represents joy, but also he exposes reality.
Learn with Miss BB and smash the AOs.
Genial face, its sparkling eye, its open hand, its cheery voice, its unconstrained demeanour, and its joyful air. Starting with this extract, how does Dickens present the Ghost of Christmas Present in this extract in the rest of the novella? Everything on here is designed to show you exactly how to answer the question and access the top marks. When you get a question like how does Dickens present the Ghost of Christmas Present, you're not just describing the character, you need to do three things consistently. Make a clear argument, use short embedded quotes, analyze Dickens' methods, and explain the effects. Take 2 ideas from the extract, 2 ideas from the rest of the novella, that's 4 paragraphs. You can use the what, how, why structure. My class are familiar with the spectral structure, so please use that in your paragraphs. Start with your idea, add a short quote, zoom into keywords or methods, explain what it suggests, then link it back to Dickens' message. The best answers don't just say the ghost is kind or cheerful, they show that he represents both joy and generosity, but also warning and social responsibility. That's what makes your answer conceptual, and that's what gets you into the top band. I want you to screenshot this now. This is your revision tool. If you learn how to turn what's on this slide into full paragraphs, you will improve your answers massively. Remember, this is not about writing more, it's about writing smarter. Clear ideas, precise quotes, sharp analysis, and link to Dickens' message. Talk about the extract and talk about the rest of the novella. Now, this is the mark scheme. This is not something I made. This is what the examiners are using to mark your work. So if you understand this, you understand how to get the marks. I'm going to simplify this for you because it looks complicated, but it's actually very simple. There are only 3 things you need to focus on: AO1, AO2, and AO3. AO1, again, is your argument. This means you are answering the question clearly. Your ideas are focused. You are using relevant quotes. Top answers don't waffle. They have a clear idea like the ghost represents joy but also warns society about responsibility. That's what gets you higher marks. AO2 had Dickens right, so this is your analysis. This is the one most people struggle with. AO2 is not just about spotting techniques, it's about zooming in. So instead of saying this is imagery, you say what word, what it suggests, why Dickens used it. That's how you move up the levels. AO3, why it matters. This is your contextual information. You are not writing a history essay here. You are linking ideas to Victorian poverty, charity, social responsibility, and most importantly, Dickens' message. I've also included a grading scheme. This slide is really important because level 6, the top band, is described as perceptive, conceptual detail. That means you are not just explaining, you are thinking deeply and making connection. What moves you up levels? To move up, you need to keep a clear argument throughout, zoom into words, not just quotations, explain effects properly, link everything back to Dickens' message. That's it. It's not about writing loads, it's about doing these things consistently. Screenshot this, not because you need to memorize it, but because This is what your answer is being judged against. If you can hit AO1, AO2 and AO3 in every paragraph, you're already moving into the top levels. That's exactly how examiners think when they mark your work. Now let's walk through the model answer like an examiner. I'm not going to read every word, but instead I'm going to show you what this pupil is doing well, where they are hitting the assessment objectives, and why this response is strong. This is the kind of answer that stays focused, analytical, and conceptual throughout. The introduction does exactly what a strong introduction should do. It answers the question immediately. It introduces the ghost as a symbol and brings in Dickens' bigger message about responsibility. That means the pupil is already hitting AO1 through a clear line of argument and AO3 through Dickens' message and purpose. This is not a vague opening, it's precise and it's thoughtful. In this extract, have I just moved one paragraph forward? In this extract paragraph, the pupil does something very well. They zoom into small details and unpack them properly. For example, when they focus on the green robe, they do not just identify colour imagery. They explain what green symbolises, such as growth, renewal, life, abundance. That is strong AOT because they are analysing methods and meanings, not just spotting them. Then they connect that symbolism to Christmas, generosity and vitality, which helps move the paragraphs beyond simple description. This paragraph zooms into words. What the pupil does well here is identify the listing, but more importantly, they explain the effect of it. They show how Dickens overwhelms the reader with positivity and warmth. That is a really good analytical move. This is a strong AO2 because the pupil is thinking about structure and effect. It is also a strong AO1 paragraph because it keeps linking back to the main idea that the ghost introduces joy, celebration, and human connection. Elsewhere in the novella, the student has used the quotation, "Come in and know me better, man." This paragraph is effective because it shifts from description of the ghost into his role in Scrooge's transformation. The pupil analyzes the imperative "come" and the direct address "man," showing how the ghost is both authoritative and welcoming. That is a strong AO2. Well, what pushes it high is that the pupil then explains why this matters. The ghost is guiding Scrooge, encouraging openness and self-improvement. This is where the paragraph becomes more conceptual, so AO1 is strong too. Paragraph 4, elsewhere. So this is where the student is making links to the rest of the novella. They have used the quotation, "If these shadows remain unaltered." This is one of the strongest parts of the essay because the pupil understands that the ghost is not just joyful, he is also cautionary. That duality is important because the pupil zooms in on the conditional phrase, "if these shadows remain unaltered," and explains how it creates inevitability and fear if change does not happen. This is a sharp AO2 analysis. Then they connect it to Tiny Tim, social suffering, and Dickens' warning to society. That is a strong AO3 because context and message are embedded into the point. You're looking at the conclusion now. The conclusion is successful because it does not simply repeat earlier points. Instead, it offers a final judgment. The pupil clearly sums up that Dickens presents the ghost as a figure of generosity, moral guidance, and warning. They bring together joy and responsibility in one final idea. This is a strong AO1 because the argument remains conceptual right to the end. It's also a strong AO3 because it reinforces Dickens' wider moral purpose. So how has this pupil hit the AO1? If we think like an examiner, AO1 is strong here because the pupil stays focused on the question. They use relevant quotations. They build a clear argument across the response, and they cover both the extract and the rest of the novella. That matters because top band answers are not random paragraph points. They feel connected. AO2 is strong because the pupil consistently zooms into key methods and words. They analyze color symbolism, listing, imperatives, direct address, conditional phrasing, imagery. More importantly, they explain the effect of those choices, and that is what examiners are looking for, not just feature spotting. They are looking for analysis. For the AO3, AO3 is also handled well because the pupil keeps linking ideas to Dicken's message. They bring in Christmas values, charity, social responsibility, and the contrast between joy and poverty, the need for comparison. The context is not bolted on, it is woven into the argument, which is exactly what stronger answers do.